Yes.
Back to Yitro, Vayishma Yitro, and Vayavo. So that itself is a very interesting thing, because you remember in Beshalach, Chil Achaz Yoshvei Pelashet, Aznin Alu Alufei Edom, Elemor B'Chazeh Murad, Namo Kol Yoshvei Chanan. Everybody heard about it. The New York Times came in, the sea split. CNN, sea split. Israel, everybody sea split. But nobody came. They knew about it. The New York Times went crazy. Beautiful thing. But Vayishma Vayavo. Yitro is the only one who comes. So that's why you'll see a very interesting thing happening. What is it that he heard? So there's an interesting Mechilta, which you don't have on your thing, but we'll go, and I'll read it to you right now. In the Mechilta says like this. Here. Vayishma. Ma shmu'a shama uva. What is the thing that he heard that make him come? I mean, when he come, it means it's not just a physical coming. He's changing. Kohen Midyan. He's a high priest. He's the Pope. And he's coming to here. It's come, whatever it is. Ma shmu'a shama uva. Now watch this. Rabbi Yeshua Omer milchemet Amalek shama. He heard milchemet Amalek, and he came. Now, the reason he'd say that is very simple, because what's the story right before Yitro? The story of Amalek. So you hear the story of Amalek. So Rabbi Yeshua, you heard Amalek, he went and came. Divrei Rabbi Yeshua. Rabbi Eliezer Madai Omer, Matan Torah Shema. He heard Matan Torah, he came to hear it. Okay? There's another one. Rabbi Eliezer Omer, Kriyat Yam Suf Shema. Okay, everybody with me?
Yeah.
But there's a thing.
Yeah.
If you read the story yesterday, you see that Yitro comes. When is Matan Torah?
Only after.
Afterwards. So Rabbi Yishmael, Rabbi Elazar Modai said Matan Torah Shema. What does he have to hold? That Yitro came after Matan Torah. So let's take a look at how Rashi views this. It's an interesting thing. Rashi says, anybody have Rashi? Take a look in the very first Rashi in Yitro. First Rashi in Yitro. Who wants to read it? Anybody want to do it? Anybody mood to do it?
I can.
Go ahead.
וישמע יתרו, מה שמועה שמע ובא, קריאת ים סוף ומלחמת עמלק.
So what does Rashi leave out?
The Torah.
Matan Torah. So clearly Rashi seems to imply what? That Yitro came before Matan Torah. Beseder? Mm-hmm. Now take a look, if you don't mind, to pasuk. Where are we here? Here. To pasuk. Vayhi mimocholad. Where is it? Here. Here. Pasuk Yud Gimel, please.
Mm-hmm. Should I read it?
Please.
The Rashi?
Well, let's first just read quickly the text, but then go to Rashi. Yeah.
ויהי ממחרת, וישב משה לשפוט את העם, ויעמוד העם על משה מן הבוקר עד הערב.
Okay, let's look in Rashi. When does Mochorat appear? Mochorat of what? The day after what? Okay, who wants to go? Okay.
Should I continue?
Please. Rashi.
מוצאי יום הכיפורים היה, כך שנינו בספרי. ומר ממחרת, למחרת רידתו מן ההר. ועל כורכך אי אפשר לומר אלא ממחרת יום הכיפורים, שהרי קודם מתן תורה אי אפשר לומר והודעתי את חוקי, I don't know what that pasuk is, ומשניתנה תורה עד יום הכיפורים לא ישב משה לשפוט את העם, שהרי ב-17 בתמוז ירד ושיבר את הלוחות, ולמחר עלה בהשכמה בשעה 80 יום וירד ביום הכיפורים. ואין פרשה זו כתובה כסדר, שלא נאמר ויהי ממחרת עד שנה שנייה.
Okay, let's just slow down what Rashi does here. Very complicated Rashi. Vayhi mimochorat, after Yom Kippur. Where does that come from? So in order to understand what Rashi is doing here, it's very complex. So anybody, bear with me a minute. Rashi seems to take the position that what? That he came in after Matan Torah. And what is Rashi's proof? He says to him in Pasuk, anybody else come in?
No, I think Evie's connection isn't so good, so she's hopping in and out.
Oh, Evie, you there?
No, they're not with us now, but they'll come. I think they'll come back in here. They're here.
Oh, here's Evie.
Sorry, our Wi-Fi isn't very good. We keep falling.
Evie there? Oh yeah, okay, good. Okay, now watch what's happening here. Very fascinating. Vayhi mimochorat, you wouldn't have thought that this is what's going on after Yom Kippur. But the problem Rashi has is that when what do you call it? Here we take a look if you don't mind. Take a look at here. Take a look at Pasuk. Well, let's do it this way. So Vayachoten Moshe et Kol Asher Asa. Remember the story that Yitro sees Moshe Rabbeinu standing there in judgment from the morning till the evening. He says, "You can't do this. Too much for you. What are you doing? What are you doing sitting there all the time?" Now watch what Rashi, what he says to him. Vayoma Moshe, Pasuk Tetvav. Pasuk Tetvav. Vayoma Moshe lechotno. Got it? כי יבוא אליי העם לדרוש אלוהים. כי יהיה להם דבר בא אליו ושפטתי בין איש ומרם והודעתי את חוקי האלוהים ואת תורותיו. So now it seems clear that somehow or other this is after Matan Torah. Because you can't, it's after Matan Torah. So now Rashi is perplexed. Because before that, Rashi says that he came before Matan Torah. And Moshe Rabbeinu is speaking to him when I'm talking to doing the Torah. So he said, it has to be that we're talking about what? After Yom Kippur. After Yom Kippur, how does that work out? It's a very interesting thing. Watch this carefully. So forget when Yitro appears on the scene, but let's see what happens. Remember, there's Matan Torah. That's Vav Sivan, right? Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
What happens right after Vav Sivan? Moshe Rabbeinu goes up to learn the Torah for 40 days. And when he comes down, what does he see?
Chet HaEgel.
What day is that Chek HaEgel? Yud Zayin B'Tammuz, right? How do we know? Yud Zayin B'Tammuz, we fast. What did Moshe Rabbeinu do with the Luchot?
He broke them.
Broke them. So Yud Zayin B'Tammuz is the time he came down, okay? Then goes all the thing, and then Moshe Rabbeinu goes up again 40 days and placates God, and God says, okay, you can go down, talk to them, and build yourself your own luchot, and come back for another 40 days. So he comes down, it comes down basically the first day of Elul, and 40 days from first of Elul is what?
Rosh Hashanah.
No, 40 days. From first of Elul.
Yom Kippur.
Yom Kippur, yes. That makes it because of 10, 30 plus 10. Oh, he said, Vayhi Mochorat, the day after Yom Kippur. Because Yom Kippur didn't have any arguments. So now the day afterwards, so that's how Rashi comes about what? That this whole thing happened after, watch this. Comes Ibn Ezra and says, no. You should know that actually he came after him, after Matan Torah, because it doesn't make sense. The whole story, and he goes along with when Mechilta says, remember, one of Mechilta says, Ma Shmua Shema Matan Torah. Why would you think that makes most sense? He's the Kohen Midian. He's the priest. He's the Pope. What would possibly make the Pope go? Not a war, not even the sea. Says what really makes him is Matan Torah. Now watch this. It turns out, if you take a look carefully, it works very well in certain respects. That Mashmu Shama, the way he heard, maybe I'm Suf, maybe I'm Amalek, but ultimately Matan Torah. And that's when he comes. So now you have a very, very beautiful thing. And you see it very clearly that he speaks to them. Oh, another place. Oh, wait, that's another. Ibn Ezra is a very, very good point. If you don't mind, yeah. This is actually a very so strong that you can't really almost argue against the Ibn Ezra. If you don't mind, go now to Pasuk Yud Bet. This will blow your mind. Watch this. Who wants to read?
I'll read.
Okay.
ויקח יתרו חותן משה עולה וזבחים לאלוהים, ויבוא אהרון וכל זקני ישראל לאכול לחם עם חותן משה לפני האלוהים.
What happened? What do they do here? They bring a korban. Bring a korban. There's no mizbeach yet. The first mizbeach was Matan Torah. That's pretty good proof, said Ibn Ezra, that Yitro came after Matan Torah. Okay? Now watch this. We'll end it because this is gorgeous. What the Ibn Ezra does now, I love it. You'll see if you love it too. So why, in fact, does the Torah tells us that Yitro comes in the story before it tells us about Matan Torah? Anybody an answer?
Maybe because of Moshe's sons.
Could be. The usual answer is Ein Mukdam U'Mu'achar B'Torah. You've heard the expression?
Yes.
Yes? What does it mean?
But the Torah doesn't have a specific order, like it.
Right.
Order.
Is that a good answer?
Nope.
No. I'm asking you, why is this before that? I said, you know why? It's because the Torah does before that. You didn't answer my question. Why? Whenever you see Ein Mukdam U'Mu'achar B'Torah, it's not just, the story, blah, blah, blah. There's a message. There's a message in this, and I love what the message is of the Ibn Ezra. The Ibn Ezra says, yes, I am convinced that Yitro came historically after Matan Torah. But the Chumash tells us, before Kadosh Baruch Hu gives us Matan Torah, your experience with non-Jews has been terrible. Paro, Amalek. You may think that I'm giving you Torah because I'm a Jew and all the other guys are bad. No. I love the Jewish people, but they're not Jews also. Before I give you Matan Torah, I must tell you there's a man, he was a Pope, Kohen Midian, and he accepted Israel. He accepted Torah. He accepted the idea. In order for me to give you Matan Torah, says Ibn Ezra, I've got to tell you, you've got to deserve it too. Don't just go in there because I'm a Jew. Look at yourselves first, and then you get Matan Torah. Isn't that gorgeous?
It's very nice.
The reason that there's Ein Mukdam U'Mu'achar B'Torah is not just haphazard. There's a message. The message, I can't give you Matan Torah if your only experience has been bad with non-Jews. The all non-Jews are no good. No. Look at yourself first, and then you can tell me what the other piece of it. Hello?
Yes,
Thank you,
ma'am.
Even Ezra, people just it gives us such an insight into what we humans have to be. Don't who are you first? And then if you know who you are first, you get Matan Torah, and you can Yitro come even after Matan Torah. But the essence is be aware of who you are and be aware of the whole universe.
Fair.
Hello?
Really nice. Yeah.
Anybody else want to add anything to this?
Well, I'd like to ask about Moshe's sons, because it's kind of like weird that they weren't part of any of the big Jewish, they weren't at Kriyat Yam Suf. If they weren't at Kabbalat Torah, they really.
Right. Very good. If in a Tanakh quiz, if everyone who are the only two Jews who were not there Matan Torah? And the Moshe Rabbeinu's sons. Very interesting.
Moshe's sons, yeah.
Huh?
Hmm.
It's very, very fascinating. Yeah, people talk about that. And the history is that they had trouble. You know that, don't you? They were involved with Pesel Milcha and so on.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, very, very interesting question. Yes. And it may well be that that's one of the big price that person sometimes pays for being a leader. He can't be with his children so much. And I know individuals who told me this before. All right, it's a very good question. But they were the only. If it's true that the Yitro came after Matan Torah and the Chidon Tanakh, mi hayu shnei Yehudim shel af pam lo shemu Matan Torah, Gershon what's that? Eliezer and Gershon. Yeah, the only two people in the. And it's an interesting question that you raise, because very frequently you see that great men, great women, whoever they are, don't have enough time for their family, so to speak, and things happen. Yeah, fair. Yeah, it's a very good question. All right, but the other side of it also is, did Yitro become Jewish or not? The same question. Is he, you know? And there's a major machloket, because if you take a look, it's not so clear. But I will tell you one interesting thing. You know the story of Yael? Everybody knows Yael?
Mm-hmm.
Who is she? Who is she?
It was
No,
Sisera's
From
something.
Yitro. Remember this?
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
Nevakeni. She's from Yitro. Yeah, you aware of this? No? Yes? Yes.
Yeah.
The only non-Jewish people that basically were involved and were allowed into the Israel army are the Druzim. And you know who their Navi is? The Druze in the religion? Yitro.
Interesting.
Fascinating to me. When I heard that, was
Wow.
yes. Chevra Keni somehow or other was always able to connect with the Jewish people, whether Yitro became Jewish or not. But they're the only ones that, and you know, the Druzim are very much into the Israel army. Are you aware of this?
Yeah.
I think there's some. I think the guys in the front who drive the truck are Druzim, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. At least for Shabbat. Yeah. So it's a very interesting thing to see the story that we have, Maser Avot Siman Dabalim, that Yitro, whether he became Jewish or not, some are very close. Yael's clearly not Jewish, and yet she changes Jewish history.
Mm-hmm.
And she's Chevra Keni, and the Druzim today consider themselves to be direct lineage of Yitro.
Interesting.
Nice.
Very
Yeah,
nice
yeah,
subs.
I'm sorry.
Subs.
Okay, guys.